Hi friends, it's Carrie from Stretch Chi. I am using my headphones today, so if any of you guys are watching right now and see me, let me know that you can hear me okay, because I think the sound quality will be better and then I won't feel like I'm screaming across the room. One day I'll get better headphones that aren't like old school. Anyway, so I hope you guys are doing well. We are going to start at 11 o'clock, which is in 7 minutes. So if you are watching this pre-recorded, go ahead and fast forward until you see me again. All right. I will see you guys shortly. Check in the chat right now and let me know when you get here so that I know who's in class today, because then I can adjust accordingly, and let me know if you guys have anything specific you want to work on. All right. Okay. See you soon. Hello, friends! Welcome to Wednesday morning stretching class. It's Carrie from Stretch Chi, and we're going to do some resistance stretching today. Now, last week I decided to start pulling cards before class, but today I'm feeling like I really want to set an intention for class about how to bring you guys into a place of really trusting your range of motion and trusting your body. I don't know, it seems really important today that we focus on this one thing to me. I don't know why. It just is like super in the forefront of my mind of building trust, finding the balance in your own body and figuring out how to listen to yourself to know when you're safe and when you're not safe and making sure that we get the right balance. So that's what I think we're going to focus on today. And it's really cool because I feel like once you guys get this feeling in your body of actually trusting your own range of motion and trusting your own mobility, then you're going to really feel the ability to release and to feel really optimistic about what's happening in your body in the future. And I think it'll really enable you to be able to make some pretty big changes. So I'm super excited about this idea. So I'm going to run with it. Those of you who are watching live, be sure to say hi in the chat so I know who's here. And let me know if there's anything specific that you want to work on in your body, because we're going to take an idea and put it on all the stretches. So if there's anything anyone wants to problem solve, feel free to let me know what that might be. So that could be like if you have a certain pain in your body, or if you are noticing that you're really tight through your hips or your hamstrings or the back of your shoulders or whatever, just let me know. For those of you who are watching this pre-recorded, feel free to leave comments down below as we go through class. If you have any suggestions or anything for future classes, let me know, and I can do those on a different day. Any of you guys who logged in yesterday, I'm really sorry I didn't teach class yesterday morning because I woke up with the worst cake hangover. Monday was my birthday, and I ate like half of a Betty Crocker cake. I mean, it was like all full of like chemicals and disgustingness. And I woke up on Tuesday morning with like the stomach ache of all. I was like in a total sugar coma. It was awful. And I felt terrible. I felt like I had drank like a bottle of wine, and it was just cake. This is my life now. I swear to you guys, the healthier you get, the nicer you are to your body, the more it hurts when you're not nice. So that's life. All right, so if you've never done Ki-Hara before, it's very important that you understand a few rules. And the first rule is that you move all the time. The second rule is that you resist all the time, so you're going to keep your muscles engaged while you stretch. And the third rule is that if anything hurts, don't do it. Stop right away. And we're going to play around with those rules a little bit today so that you can really understand this idea of trusting, like you trusting yourself, your own body, so that you know exactly what you can feel like. All right, let's see. Oh, Chad's here. Fantastic. Your right shoulder. Okay, we'll work on that for sure. Do you feel it on the top here? Or do you feel it in the back, like back through here? And are you sleeping like this on your pillow, or are you sleeping like this? Like, can you give me a little bit more information? Then I can go from there, because that's pretty fun. But yeah, let's dive into that monster for sure. For sure. So we're going to play around with these ideas today of finding the range of motion that feels the best to you. Now, when I say that we move and resist all the time, we're actually moving in and out of where your muscle is the shortest to where it's the longest. So like if I was going to work on the back of my shoulders, let's go ahead and bring that right shoulder right up and see how that goes for you, Chad, and then for anybody else having shoulder issues. Hopefully this helps you too. Grab the outside of your elbow with your left hand. And this is like your neutral place. Here we're neutral. That means that I can push open a certain amount, and I can also pull in a certain amount. So you're going to find like a neutral spot to start. Grab the outside of your elbow and then try to pull both arms apart. So you're going to engage the muscle, right? And then we're going to add movement. So from neutral, move to the right as far as your body says, I'm good. And when you start to feel like maybe you lose that trust a little bit, or if the rest of your body kind of goes to the other side, then you'll stop. So go out as far as your body feels like is satisfactory to you, then pull across to the other side. And again, you're going to work within that balance, within that neutrality, from neutral to your stretch until it feels like satisfaction to you. Now that could mean that you only go a little bit and then you open up a little bit, right? It could mean that you go a little further and then you feel the stretch. You should feel the stretch in the back of your shoulders. So pay attention to that and see. As you build this trust, then you'll start to get the release in the back of your shoulder. Now, if there's some other blockage, then we have to know what that is. So if you can't find a place where you trust yourself enough, like maybe you come over here and you start to feel some pain or something doesn't feel right, then you can't build trust in that because there's a blockage. There's some sort of obstacle, and we need to remove that obstacle. So if you find an obstacle, then stop doing the stretch, switch to the other side, and play around with that one. Find from neutral to strength training in a place that feels good, to stretch in a place that feels good. And if you can't find a place that feels good, or you can't find like a release or a feeling of like satisfaction, then you need to cancel the stretch and we'll problem solve and move into some other stretches. Okay. So like on your side like this. This is a perfect, I picked the right stretch. Good job, Carrie. I did it. Okay, that makes me happy. All right, so you let me know how this goes for you as we're going through, and we'll problem solve through it. And then if anybody else wants to chime in, feel free, right? It's a small group today. I ran out of, I keep running out of time in life. And it amazes me because I am living in a place where I'm at home all the time, and I can't believe that I don't have enough time in the day. Like I don't have the commute, I don't have clients, I don't, I should have all this time. I don't know where it is. So anyway, I forgot to tell people about class this morning. So, so that's why. Okay, so you're feeling a pinch. Are you feeling the pinch in the front, or are you feeling the pinch in the back? Let's play around with that, right? And now that you know that, like, okay, you can't build trust in this one yet, it's okay. Let's problem solve through and see if we can find some trust in it. So Chad, you can skip that stretch. Anyone else who's doing this stretch, you want to do about 10 on each side and then work through it, right? Pretty simple. Okay, now the next stretch we're going to go into is for the front of your shoulders. This is for your pecs. This is a push-up, but if you're having a shoulder issue, like Chad says he's having a shoulder issue. So Chad, you might want to do this on the wall. Even if you're able to do push-ups, you might want to do it on the wall just so that you can really pinpoint a little bit more, make sure that you feel really safe in it. On the floor, it looks like this. You go into a lunge, into a plank, not a lunge at all. With your arms really wide, bring your hips down towards the floor so your knees to your shoulders are a pretty straight line. And then you very slowly drop down so that your body comes towards the floor, and then push back up. So down for a stretch and up for strength. You should feel the stretch across the front of your chest. Now I'm just going to bring the camera up a little bit. Hi, Crystal. Glad you're here. The pinch is in the back. Okay, we'll keep working through it. If you want to do this stretch on the wall, you just bring your arms really wide. I got to do this so my calendars don't fall off the wall. And then you just come into the push-up this way. But what this does is it just takes a little bit of pressure off of, if you don't have as much resistance, right? So it's just a little bit better. So yeah, Chad, keep letting me know. And Crystal, if there's anything you want to work on, let me know too. And if anybody is watching this after the fact and you want to chime in, I'm not going to be able to see your comments unless you're actually watching this in real time live. So go ahead and forward to where we're live, and then you can always backtrack later and do the other stretches, right? Okay. So once you've done your push-ups and you feel really good about that, then we're going to stretch out the front of your shoulders here, okay? So with this one, we're going to bring our hands behind us. It's kind of like a crab walk position with your fingers pointing towards your feet, and you're going to curl your shoulders in. So you just curl in here, and then from here, push with your hands and push your chest up towards the ceiling, and you should feel your shoulders open up a bit. You can bring your head back if it feels good, and then you just pull in again. And then again, you want to find where you're neutral first. So find a place where you feel safe, neutral, there's no problem here, and then you want to curl into a place where you feel like you've curled in enough. So you've satisfied the the demand for strength, right? So pull in, find that place where you're like, yeah, that's good. Then you push with your arms, lift your chest up, you pass neutral, and now you're going into a place that's a stretch. And you want to get to a place where you're like, yeah, that's good. And then you pull back again, you pass neutral, you come to the strength portion, that's good. And then to the neutral, and then to the stretch, to the place that's good. Always resisting and finding that balance between neutral, strength, and stretch on either side. It should be about the same distance on either side, right? So as you come forward, you're coming forward a certain amount, and then once you get past neutral and you start to open up, you're opening up about the same amount, okay? If all's good. Now, if it's not good, then we have some areas we need to fix. So this stretch you should feel in the front of your shoulders here. Now, Chad, you've got this shoulder issue, so you may have that pinch in your back still. Let me know if it's still there, because we might have some things to work through, okay? And then, do as many of those as you feel like you can. Make sure that you really trust yourself in that stretch, and then we'll move on into our next stretch, okay? Oh, I have a cat. I have a cat here. Hi, Sunny. You're so helpful. She says, I need to stretch my chest. Ouch. She's like, what are you doing on my mat? And she usually hangs out here when I'm not stretching. She always comes to this spot. It's like a giant piece of paper. You know, you put a piece of paper on the floor and cats always will like sit on the paper. That's what the mat is. All right, so bring your right arm across your body. Make sure that you feel, oh good, okay. This is like Chad's special stretch. You guys, if you don't contribute to the chat, you don't get your special stretching session. Chad's getting all the attention today, and it's awesome. We can fix this shoulder thing. Okay, so bring your right arm across your body, grab your wrist with your other hand, and then resist like you're trying to pull both arms apart. It's a diagonal stretch. And then you're gonna push up for strength and pull down for your stretch. So you pull down across, this time to your left side. Bring your head to the side, maybe a little forward, and see if you can find that stretch. If you knock that cup over, I swear to God, okay, don't you do it. It would be awesome. It's like a full cup of water. So you pull down for stretch, bring your head to the other side. So bring my head to the left, your forehead comes just a little forward, and then tilt to the side, and you just come up and down. Good job. Awesome, Chad. So you went back to the first one, huh? Back to this one? Yeah, this should be a lot better now. That's cool. Good job. Good job, bodies. And then in this stretch, here, it kind of feels like neutral here, but really your neutral is somewhere in the middle, right? So find where you feel neutral. When you push up, this is strength training, so push up until you feel like it's kind of just a satisfactory place. And then when you pull down, you'll pull to the other side. And again, you pass neutral, and you move into the place where you feel your stretch until it feels like you're like, that's good. I feel like I've got it in a good way. And then you push right back up. Go to the place where you feel a release, where you feel like you trust the stretch. And again, like I keep using this word, but like the place where it feels like you're satisfied with the stretch. You do not have to push past that place of satisfaction. Sometimes people will get to that and they'll push and they'll continue pushing and continue pushing, thinking that they're going to get a deeper stretch that way. But that's not helpful for you, and that's not going to enable you to move to the next level where you really feel like you have the ability to really open up. Ah, yes, Crystal's asked for help with her flat feet. We'll work on that for sure. At first I read it and I was like, your feet hurt right now while we're doing your arm stretches? I was like, the body's weird, you guys. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all, really. But I get it. So yeah, we'll work on that next. So let's get the other side up for strength and down for stretch. And you can pull your head this time over to the right and get that stretch to the right side of your neck. Find neutral, push up to the place where you feel like your strength training is satisfactory. Pull down through neutral into the place where the stretch feels good, and then bring your head to the side. And we'll just go back and forth. Up for strength, and we'll pull down for your stretch. And then just bring your head right to the side. Up for strength and down for stretch. Oh man, this is good stuff. I missed stretching yesterday. Like I said before, I had a cake hangover. I had too much sugar in my system, and I was like, I felt like my whole body was full of lead. Like I just was like, I can't move. And of course, then I ate all the leftover cake too. It's amazing I can move today. But too much sugar makes me so inflamed, and I was so sore. So this feels really good to stretch. All right, now after these stretches, if you guys want to revisit any of those stretches to retest them again, you could. I think this one would be good. I think, Chad, you already went back to this one. Crystal, I know you could use this one for sure. This is a good stretch for you and your back. Another one that would be really good if you want to do some more testing is the push-up. Sometimes people are like, oh, I'm not very good at push-ups, but sometimes after doing these other stretches and cleaning up some of the mess, you can find the trust in your plank and your push-up position. So let's play around with that idea. If you want to do this on the wall, you can, or if you want to revisit any of the other stretches, if you know them, feel free. I know you guys who have chimed in on the chat, you know these stretches. So you come into a plank position, and then find a place where you feel good and neutral, like somewhere in the middle, right? And then as you very slowly lower yourself down towards the floor, you find a place where you still trust that you can hold your body up. When that trust starts to go away, you'll notice you'll really start to shake. That's the end of your stretch, right? You might notice that your core starts to drop out or something just doesn't feel good. So down slowly. And when your trust is starting to feel a little compromised, you'll notice that you really start to shake and then you come back up. You don't have to go all the way to the floor. Hi, Bubba. I know. Thanks for the cuddles. You can't go under here because I'm doing push-ups. Sorry guys, it's hard to talk to my cat. It's just we have a different language than humans. She's adorable. All right, good. So I hope you guys can start to feel this idea of like neutrality, where like you don't feel any problems, and then going into your strength training or going into your stretch motion and recognizing that those are two sides of the rubber band pull, right? It's like, I mean, it literally is like a rubber band. Like you have the neutral rubber band, and then you pull both sides. You don't just pull one side, you pull both sides. But you think about like one side is the strength training side and the other side is the stretch side, and then you come back to center and everything's okay. And this is, kind of a analogy for life too. I mean, we have things that scare us, or things that we don't feel like we can trust, things that make us feel a little fearful, or, just, I don't know, like you don't necessarily know, you don't feel confident, right? And so as we do these, we want to start to build confidence as we do the stretches. We want to build this feeling of knowing how far you can stress yourself in one direction and how far you can stress yourself in the other direction, and not going past that point, right? And then as you build that trust, then, only then, can you test the levels, right? That's kind of how flexibility works in our bodies, but also outside of our bodies as well. It is pretty profound when you catch it. All right, so Crystal had asked for some work on her arches. So go ahead and stand up. I'm just gonna bring the camera back a little bit so that you guys can see me standing. All right, it's better if you have a cat. Hi, get out of here. All right, and from here, you're just gonna stand up, and hopefully you guys can see what's going on here, but I don't have my socks on. If you have socks on, go ahead and take them off so that you can see your feet. Bring your feet right under your shoulders, and it might even help you to do like a little walk or something just to kind of get yourself lined up and see where your feet land. And then you may notice that if you have flat feet, that your knees kind of want to knock in, or that you feel a little internally rotated here in your thighs, or that you feel kind of like you want to stick your butt out a little bit. That's usually what it feels like when somebody's got flat feet. And what you'll notice is that if I have my feet really in that position, let me get to a place where you can see, ta-da, okay, here, you can see how the inner sole of my foot, there it is, kind of collapses down, and how my ankles collapse in when I take away the activation through my upper thighs. So now what we're gonna do, sorry about all the moving. Now what we're gonna do is see if we can activate through our hips and our glutes to be able to raise our arches. So you wanna find 3 points on your foot, your heel, your big toe, and your big toe metatarsal right here, and your pinky toe metatarsal right here. And see if you can find those 3 points like a tripod. You may notice that your knees are kind of knocking in, and go ahead and let them do that because that's your regular stance, or just kind of relax into it and see what your body wants to do. It might not do this, and that's okay. But see if you can keep those 3 points still on the ground, and then stand up real tall. So you try to straighten your spine out as much as you can, and then you're going to externally rotate your thighs. That means that you turn them out that way. So imagine if you had eyeballs in the front of your legs, that they went out like a fish. Like how fish have eyeballs, or like a bird has eyeballs on the outside. When you do that, keep the ball of your foot on the floor. So you don't lift your toes up, you keep your big toe down, and you'll notice that your arch raises up. So let me show you this a little closer so you can see. So here I'm relaxed and my arches are down, my ankles are kind of collapsing in. And as I stand up tall and externally rotate, I kind of push my hips forward a little bit so my hips are really flat in the front, then my arches raise up. So it would look like this. I've collapsed in, I raise up, and as I externally rotate, my arches come up. And then you can collapse it back in and strength train up. I'm doing one leg at a time just so you can see what my arches are doing. So collapse in, rotate external, turn your fish eyes out, keep your big toes down, so not turning up like this, but I'm keeping my toes down, raising my arches. You can watch my ankles from the back also. See if I can do this. Let your knees come in, and then stand up tall. Try to turn your legs external. This you'll feel a lot of tension in your glutes. Keep your big toes down, let your arches raise up. I know, right? That external hip rotation, like we said, Chad, so good for your feet. Now we're gonna work on those muscles at the upper hips and see if we can get those opened up. And that's gonna give you a little bit more stability through your feet, okay? So let's start off on our backs. And I want you to grab your heel of your right foot with your right hand. You're going to kick down with your heel, so kick down towards the midline of your body, activate that inner hamstring. Find where you feel like strength training is satisfactory to you, and that'll feel like your body will just automatically stop. The muscle will say, like, that's enough. And then from here, keep kicking down. You're going to pull up, pull past neutral, and pull to the place where you feel like the stretch is satisfactory to you, and then kick it back down, past neutral, to the place where you trust for strength training, and then up, past neutral, find the trust at the end of the stretch, and then kick back down. You're able to kick out of this stretch because you trust it, right? You trust yourself. You know that you still have strength here, so you can kick down. This is going to allow for the release later because you have built trust in your body. And I think that's a really hard thing for people to grasp sometimes. Like they think if they just do a bunch of stretches that eventually it's going to open up, or if they force it, or if they power through, it'll be fine. But it's kind of, how to explain it? Your muscles are very similar to like a scared animal sometimes, especially if they've been hurt or if they're really tight. I did a whole lesson and guided journaling session on life renovations this week, which is also on my YouTube page. You guys can check it out. They're really short videos, like 10 minutes, I think maybe 15 minutes at the most. But they talk a lot about this idea of how your subconscious mind and your conscious mind work. Now, we have a tendency to think that consciously we can force this to release, but we can't. Muscles are like subconscious responses for your brain. Like the muscle response. I didn't say that in a very good way, but you know what I mean. The muscle is sending subconscious signals to your brain, and your subconscious mind is sending signals back to your leg, and your body's making choices all the time based off of whether it feels safe or not. And that is no different than a dog that you just picked up for the pound that doesn't know you yet, right? It doesn't trust you yet. It's not really sure. It maybe knows that you're like a person and that it's probably going to get fed and it might get some cuddles and that's good. But then like as soon as it gets tested, it's going to like either freak out or it's going to run and hide. It's going to shake. It's going to, like whimper. Like it might get scared. And so what you need to do is rebuild the trust with that animal. And when you rebuild the trust, then it will learn to love you and it'll do things for you. So if the dog trusts you, then when you call it, it'll come over. Or when you tell it to do a trick, it'll do the trick, right? When you tell it to stop doing something, it'll stop doing it. Like if you tell it to get off the couch or whatever, it'll do that thing for you. Speaking of, hello, mama. Then it'll do that thing for you. And then you reward it with love and care, and it learns to trust you, right? But if the dog was like abused at one point or like, just has a lot of fear, then those fears are going to pop up every once in a while. And that happens in your muscles too. Those fears pop up. So if you take the muscle too strongly into a stretch, you're going to reinforce the fear. It's no different than like a dog that's scared. Like maybe, like it's scared of the mailman and it's barking, and then you yell at the dog like crazy to shut up. But that's not going to make the dog stop barking. It's not going to work. Okay, let's do the other side. So bring your left leg up and grab your heel with your left hand. Kick down for strength. Continue kicking down and then pull up. Pull up past neutral. Pull to the place where you trust the stretch. And then kick right back down. And up for strength. Up for your stretch here. And then kick down for strength. You want to get to a place where you feel really safe. And then past neutral. Here's where you're testing. This is where you're taking your body to a place that maybe it's not going to go for. And it's not quite sure. So when you feel like you've gone far enough, just kick right back down. Now, I could try to pull my leg further here. I really could. I could really test it. I could really yank and pull. But I know that that's not going to help my muscle to keep long-term mobility. I might get a short-term gain, right? You might be flexible for today or tomorrow. But that's not going to be a long-term gain. When you do Ki-Hara on a regular basis and build this trust in your body, you are retraining your subconscious mind so that your muscles work like clockwork all the time. So if you get to a point in training with Ki-Hara where like you can touch your toes or something, and your body knows that it's safe doing that, then in the future you will be able to touch your toes whether you've stretched out or not. You don't have to warm up into these stretches to be able to do them, which is pretty, a lot of times when people like are training for the splits or something, if they don't continue doing the splits every day, then they're going to lose it. But that's not how this method works, because we're building trust and security within that stretch. All right, we're going to move on into our quads next. Now, if you guys who have done these stretches before, if you don't want to do this stretch against the wall, then if you don't want to be on your knee, then you can do the quad pump, which I think you may have learned before, up and down like this. So feel free to start with that one. But I want to dive into this one on the wall. I'm going to need that towel, so give me that. So put the towel or like double up your mat, have it close by the wall, or sometimes people use a couch or a chair or something. A couch is nice because it's got a little cushion to it, but you want to make sure that you can still resist against it too. So if you're not able to resist, then you kind of have a problem, right? So make sure that you have a place that's like you can put your foot solidly against. You're going to drop your knees so that your knee is close to the wall and your foot's flat if that feels good. If it doesn't feel good, then find a place where it does, like maybe turning your toes under would feel better, but just see how it feels. And then bring the other leg to the front. And you're going to come up into a lunge. Now again, you want to test this position to find the neutral that feels good to you, and it should feel neutral. Like being in this position should not feel like a deep stretch, and if it does, you're too close to the wall. So play around with your neutral here for a second. Take some time to really figure it out. If this is too intense for you, just standing here, then you're not going to be able to strength train and stretch very much. Like you won't have that range on either side. So find your neutral. To do that, bring your towel a little further away from the wall if you need to, okay? Or turn your foot, or grab some extra padding, or do whatever you need. Get a chair to hold on to. Whatever it is that will make you feel safe and neutral. So you're idling, you feel safe, right? Now we're gonna add resistance. So push your foot into the wall and your front leg will push into the floor, and both legs are gonna be like pushing in opposite directions. Your back leg will push you forward, and then your front leg will push you back. And this is your stretch as you come back towards the wall. When you come forward, it's technically strength training, but people usually feel a hip flexor stretch too. So get to the place where you feel like, hey, that's satisfactory. We are at that point. And then as you come back, find the place where you feel satisfied in that stretch, and then go back and forth. Now, if it's painful, get out of it. Don't do this. You could do the quad pump like I showed you before, or you could just skip it, because if you don't do the stretch today, it just means that it's because you have other stretches that are more important right now. And then when you come back and try this tomorrow or the next day, or in a week, then you can try this stretch again. We'll see how it feels. But most important, find a place where you feel safe and neutral. When you push forward, you're pushing into strength training past neutral. When you push back, you're coming back to neutral, and then you're getting into the stretch on the other side. And then you come back through neutral and into your strength portion to where you feel safe, and back into your stretch past neutral. It should be about the same distance on both sides. Okay, so if you find that you can only go forward like an inch, but you can go back a lot, then maybe your neutral is wrong. So play around with it. Find how this stretch works the best for you, because everybody's different, you guys. We are all super different. I do know that for sure. And you should just feel a nice, good stretch through the front of your quad. And it might be kind of intense, it's okay, but find a place where it feels safe to you. And then when you're ready, put your hands down, we'll switch sides. So just adjust your towel up so that you can use your other leg. Put your knee down and find a place where your foot feels safe on the wall, and then bring it up to the front. This is a pretty intense stretch, you guys, so take a second and just pretend like your quad is like a dog. Quads are all muscly, so it's probably like a pit bull kind of dog, but a cute one. And you want to give it all the love, right? You don't want to force it into position, okay? So think about it that way. Be as nurturing for your muscle as you would be to an animal. And then from here, push your foot into the wall, push your front leg forward, and then you can test the strength training portion. Feels good. And then you go past neutral and into the stretch portion. Feels good. And then back and forth. Now you may notice that one side's different than the other, that one side feels like it can stretch a little bit deeper than the other, or vice versa. Maybe it feels a little stuck. If this doesn't feel good to you, you could go into that quad pump that we were doing before, that I showed you quickly, or if you know the stretch, you can do it. It could be that you're feeling cramping. It could be that you're feeling knee pain. If any of that's happening, it means that you're not meant to do the stretch right now. So you can take the stretch and be done with it, right? Or move in a range of motion that feels really safe to you. So maybe moving forward just an inch and maybe back just an inch is enough, right? If it feels safe to here and it feels safe to here, that's all you need. Okay? That's how we get the release. So forward for strength and back for your stretch. Whew. This side I feel a little wobbly on. A little wobbles. It's because I ate too much cake. You guys, my favorite cake since I was a child, it's a funny story, is yellow cake with chocolate icing. And it comes from a total traumatic moment in childhood where my mom is a total practical joker. And one of her friends brought her a sponge cake with chocolate icing in a cake thing, like those Tupperware things. And she brought it over and I was so excited for cake. And it was a literal sponge, like a big, sponge you would scrub the floors with or something. It was a sponge, like from the ocean. It was not cake at all. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. I mean, I swear to you, I've never been so upset in my entire life that it wasn't cake. And now I love it. And that's what I ate, yellow cake with chocolate icing, and I feel like death. Cake hangover. All right, the next stretch we're going to do is for your lateral hamstrings. So you're going to lay on your back. Talk about breaking the trust. Who brings a cake to someone's house that's not cake? It was super funny because my mom was trying to cut it with a knife and it wouldn't cut because it was a sponge. But you should, if you're going to do that, you should have a backup cake. That's just the rule. Left leg up. Take your right arm across your shin and grab the outside of your foot. And then internally rotate your thigh. So your knee will come in towards your arm. Your arm is diagonal across your body, and your leg's going to mimic that diagonal. So your heel is coming out a little bit to the left. Then kick down towards your glutes and pull up towards your head. But because you're on a diagonal, you get a little bit of left to right. So down to the left and up to the right. But I'm not actually trying to pull my leg towards the wall. I'm trying to pull my leg towards my head. Because it's internally rotated, it's going to go to the right side of my head. So you kick down for strength, and you pull up for stretch. And again, down for strength, and up for stretch. You should feel the outer part of your hamstring here. And what I want you to do is find your neutral. So where's neutral? Mine's about here, right? Kick down, find your strength, and to the point where you feel satisfied with your strength, pull up past neutral, and your stretch will be about the same distance until you feel like you're satisfied with that stretch, and then back down. If you don't feel it, or if it doesn't feel good, go ahead and skip it, because this may not be your stretch today, and that is just fine. Down for strength, and up for stretch. I think it is a really interesting thing to recognize that your muscles work from a different mind than your conscious mind. And a lot of times people think that they can consciously make decisions, like they can consciously turn on their glutes because the trainer said to. Or if they get the form just right, that everything is going to go well. Like they can see themselves in the mirror and they can adjust here and they can adjust there, that everything's going to go well. But you guys, your muscles don't work from a conscious mindset. So when you're at the grocery store and you're getting things off the shelf, or when you're pulling your thing off the airplane, these are all things we don't do anymore. But if if you're pulling your baggage out of the overhead compartment, you're not thinking about your form. You're just thinking about getting your bag out of there as fast as possible. And that's when people hurt themselves sometimes, right? Because your subconscious mind doesn't know its limitations. You need to learn to trust your body within its range of motion. And when you have that trust, you'll know what you can do and what you can't do. And then the risk of you injuring yourself is very slim. It's kind of amazing. But I really think that it's a shift in your paradigm to recognize that you need to train your body to trust you. You don't need to train your body to be super strong or to be super flexible. All you need to do is train your body to trust you. So I'm now working on my right leg. I have my leg internally rotated, so my knees pointing to the left. I'm kicking down, and as I kick down, I'm going towards the outside of my hip. And when I pull up, I'm pulling towards my head, but because my leg is internally rotated, it's coming over my left ear. And then again, just find neutral, find a satisfactory place of strength, and then find satisfaction in your stretch. And just go up and down. Down for strength, and up for stretch. And recognize what feels good to you and what doesn't. You have the choice to decide if this stretch is for you or not. So take a second and notice, does this feel like it's satisfactory to you? Do you feel safe? Do you trust your body in this stretch? If there's any lack of trust at all, then every move you go into, you're just reinforcing that you don't trust yourself, right? So if you feel uncomfortable in your hip joint, if you feel pain, if you feel like can't reach the stretch or something just doesn't feel good or your neck hurts or whatever, either find a place where you can be where you do trust yourself, or recognize that this stretch isn't your stretch today. And that could mean that you just come back to it later. Or it could mean that you check out some of the problem solving videos that I have on my playlists. Or you could even like just go stretch by stretch through if you're like, I don't really understand how this stretch works. I have stretch by stretch videos where you can actually like explore each stretch a little deeper. So check out those playlists too, because it's a really good way to do it. Okay, next stretch. So it's for your groin muscles. So you're gonna come into a butterfly position, bring your feet together, and put your elbows on your knees. This is a stretch for your inner thighs. So you wanna find a place where you feel good, where you're neutral, right? Mine's here. I could sit here all day long. I could talk to you, it's no problem. I don't feel any strain, I don't feel uncomfortable. I'm good here, right? Now, I'm gonna put my elbows here on my knees, and I'm just gonna give a little resistance by pushing down and out. And then I'm gonna squeeze in, and I'm gonna test where I feel safe in a strength motion. And then I'm going to come back to neutral and pushing myself open through neutral into the place where I feel safe within my stretch. And then I'm gonna come right back up. So you just go back and forth. You're always resisting with your arms. You're always resisting with your legs. And you just find that stretch in your inner thighs. Find a place where you feel really safe. Right? Now, if you are really flexible here, then you may need to focus a little bit more on your strength training to make sure that you're getting some activation in your inner thighs. If your knees just flop to the floor, then you need to make sure you're resisting so much that you feel a little bit of tremble or shake in the muscle. That would be good. If you are finding a hard time finding neutral in the stretch, the answer is to either sit on blocks, like if you have some yoga blocks or something, you could sit on the blocks to lift your hips up, or lay on your back and put your feet against the wall. So let me show you how this works. You really get close to the wall. So I'm actually like touching the wall with my shoulder and my hips. So I'm really close. And then I'm just gonna roll over and lay on my back. And then bring my feet up into that same kind of diamond shape for the butterfly position. And I'm gonna put my hands on my knees and go in for strength and out for stretch. This is usually a lot more comfortable for people who have back pain or problems with their hips, or if you're a little out of alignment. This can help to make your back feel really safe, right? And helps to start to build some trust in this inner thigh muscle group, right? But if you feel uncomfortable sitting up, and you keep pushing yourself into this position, then again, you're gonna break the trust. And it's no different than like, you know, kicking the dog when it's being bad, instead of like giving it love and showing it how it's safe so that it won't be bad anymore, right? So let's work through that. Good stuff. All right, now after doing these stretches, I just wanna return once more to our inner thigh stretch. We're gonna do this in a little bit of a different way. So we did medial hamstring, where you grabbed one leg and you opened it up. And now I want you to do both. So you're going to grab both heels, right hand and left hand, kick down for strength and pull up for your stretch. And you're going to pull out to a wide diagonal, and then kick down for strength and pull up for stretch. It may be easier for you to grab your big toes. That sometimes is helpful for me. Or you can put straps on your feet. And I only have one here, but I have a towel. And you could do this if that feels better, to have a towel to give you a little bit more like it basically gives you a longer arm, so it makes it easier to reach. All right, and then we're gonna shift this up. So bring your feet up towards the ceiling, grab your knees on the inside, turn your toes in just a little bit, and squeeze in with your legs. Then use your arms to open you wide, and you're gonna get a stretch through your inner thighs. Now what I want you to do when you squeeze in is focus on these muscles activating and pulling, but pulling from the bottom of your foot through the inner thighs all the way in. So as you open up, you're stretching that whole line from your groin to the arch of your foot, and then you pull in and you're strength training. It's like you're pulling from the arches of your feet. And then open up. It might help to think about having springs right here, connected like a spring hooked here and a spring hooked here. So the spring closes in, and then your arms open up. We squeeze in for strength and open for stretch. And then what I want you to do is just turn your feet out, so toes out, heels in. Find the arch in your feet and open up this way with a little bit of external rotation. So squeezing in for strength and pulling open for your stretch. And squeezing in for strength and open for stretch. And again, you just want to test the range, see where you feel safe. In for strength and open for stretch. It should feel a little different just because the angles change. And then come back up to standing, and we're going to work a little bit on our inner, oh, my inner thighs feel so funny. It's so funny to walk around. Okay, so now find your feet again on the floor. Your heels down, your toes planted. Let your knees fall in. They probably don't want to right now. And then sit up real tall. Stick your hips a little forward. Tuck your tailbone. Squeeze your glutes. Rotate your legs open. And find that it's almost like a stirrup. Like if you're pulling on your socks or something. And you pull that arch right off the floor. So let it come in. Relax everything. Let your hips be real loose. And then stand up real tall. Just press your hips forward a little bit. Bring your tailbone down and under the top of your pelvis, a little back. And turn your legs. It's like you're trying to take your feet and rip a piece of paper apart. And as you do that, feel the stirrups raise up to pull your arches right off the floor. And then bring it back down. Wiggle around. And come right back up. I think, if you set the intention of bringing your arches up, right? You set that intention and have the willingness to try it, whether it works or whether it doesn't, I think you'll find a little bit of optimism there, right? Even if you're like the flattest arches of all time, you may find that it works. That's awesome, right? Isn't that inspiring? Just that little bit, like you can do that. And basically, like you don't train yourself to think that like I'm getting strong through this and the more I have to do this every day. People all the time are like, I gotta do this every day. I'm gonna do this every day from now on. No, like you're retraining your brain. You're retraining your subconscious mind that you are safe with your arches up. You're training your knees that it's okay to be out. You're training your glutes that it's okay for them to be contracted and your pelvis to come forward. Right? You're retraining everything in your body to say, I am safe in this place. Right? And then from here, if you can find your arches up, then maybe try coming up onto your toes and back down and make sure that you still have that arch there. Right? Squeeze your glutes up and down. See how that feels. Only if this feels good. You don't have to test it any other way. Right? And then maybe plant one foot, keep your arch up, and see if you can test one side or the other. Can you hold yourself in place without collapsing that arch? Find the other one if you need to. Come back into knock knees and then open up and find your arches. Keep the arch and test your center of gravity again. See, can you keep it? Can you challenge yourself? What is that like? How does that feel? Hopefully awesome. I sure hope so. All right. Let's do a little bit more work for our, I think let's get a little more into our hips. So let's come into a lunge. Your right leg in the front, your left leg behind. If you need to put a towel under your knees, that's okay. Just make sure that you feel safe and find your neutral. So where's neutral, right? For me, it's here. And I feel safe. I feel good. I feel stable. I feel like I can hold myself here. I feel like I can have a conversation with you guys for a very long time about cake. right? And then squeeze your hamstring on the front side. So it's like you're trying to kick your heel back towards you. That's going to bring you forward. And that's going to take you past neutral to the place where you feel safe in your stretch. And then you use your back leg to bring you past neutral. So here's neutral. To the place where I feel safe in strength. And I just bend my hip here. And then forward into your stretch. Keep your torso upright so that you're not leaning onto your front leg, but you're really almost feeling like you're going into a back bend. And then as you come back, you're going to curl up into a ball, just to the place where you feel like you can. And then forward again. This one is really important as far as trust goes. So really take care of yourself. Feel that give and take between the two. And here you can be a little bit optimistic, right? That optimism in there of like, okay, I got this. I get it. Now you have this intention of being safe with your body. You have an intention of trusting. The trust happens naturally. It's not something you have to think about anymore. It's just there all the time. And now you know, like every time you go into a stretch, you just automatically test where are you safe. That feels good. And then forward. That feels good. Right? And then back. It's pretty amazing. When you find this trust in your body and it becomes automatic, then you have the willingness to try something new because you know where you're safe. So from here, if you feel like when you go into the stretch that you are safe, where you feel like the trust is just innate, it's just there, then you can change it. You can like reach up. You can allow yourself to do what your body wants it to do, depending on what feels good to you. If it doesn't feel good, you skip it because you know better now, right? Let's try the other side. So bring your left leg in the front, your right leg behind. Find neutral. Test your range. See how you feel. Can you find that place of stop? And can you find that place of stop? Has your body started doing this automatically? And if it has, then you can set a new intention. And the intention might be, okay, well, if I know I'm safe, then I can have the intention of pulling more tension out. So that may mean as you go into the stretch that you explore it a little deeper. Maybe you open up a little. Maybe you reach with your arms. Maybe you don't, right? Maybe you go putting your weight on the front leg and see what that feels like. Is that different for you? What can you change and what kind of tension can you pull out now because you are safe, because you know you're safe. You know your limits. Kind of amazing, you guys. We hold so much of this in our bodies. And I find that when I'm struggling with something in my own body, it's most likely because I'm struggling with it outside of my body, right? So if you're having trust issues in your body, you're probably having trust issues outside of your body also, right? If you don't feel like you know your limits or you can't set boundaries in your body, then you don't know how to do that on the outside either. So if you start in your body and learn those techniques here first in your home, inside your skin, then you can start to branch out and bring those things into your outer world. That's pretty amazing. Good job. I could do that stretch all day long. Now we're going to go into the stretch for your hamstrings right up and down the back of your leg. So you can lay back on your back. Use your rope if you need to. Or you could just grab the ball of your foot with both hands. So I'm going to use a strap because I feel like it today. You're going to kick down with your heel all the way down to the floor. And then use your arms to pull you up over your head. This is straight up and down. Down for strength and up for stretch. Now, this is important. Are you able, innately, to find the place where you are trusting? Maybe come down here and say, that's where I stop, and then pull up and say, that's where I stop. And if you feel like you have that, then you can move into the next level, which might be challenging it a little bit. Like dropping open a little to the right and seeing if that changes the stretch. Or maybe a little to the left and see if that changes it. Or it could be stretching the fascia by pushing your heel up towards the ceiling at the end of the stretch. It could be adding your calf stretch in. It could be like our straight leg stretch where you hold here and you rotate your foot. Isn't it that one, right? You can explore once you know you're safe. But if you don't feel like you have that trust yet in your muscle, it's okay. You just stay where you're at. You work on the level that you're at and recognize that you need that trust so that your muscles cooperate with you. And then they make good decisions. It's like that scared dog decides it wants to cuddle with you, right? Instead of running off or, growling at the window all day long. Up for your stretch. I just switched legs. You guys can switch legs too on your own time. Finding the place where you feel good and kicking down to the place where you feel good. Keep resisting all the time. And then if you want to play around with it, go for it if you feel safe. So maybe a little bit to the side, maybe a little bit to the other side, or maybe you're still feeling a little bit unsure, so you just want to play around with where you feel safe. That's okay. Maybe you're still learning the stretch, right? So take your time with it. If you want to stretch the fascia, you push your heel towards the ceiling at the end of the stretch. Down for strength, and up for stretch. That's not bad, right? This is the good stuff, my friends. This is the really good stuff. All right, I think we still have a few more minutes, so I want to do glutes. Let's do some glute work. Lay on your side. Bring your knees in front of you so that your hips are at like a 90-degree angle, and then bring your feet forward so that your knees are also 90 degrees. So it should look like you're sitting in a chair. If someone took a picture of you from up top, it would look like you were sitting, like they could put a chair right there, right? Totally square. Then make sure that your hips are stacked, and that would mean that your knees are right on top of each other. So if you notice that like one knee is back too far, then that means that you're leaning back a little on your hips. So stack up your hips so your knees are lined up. Then put your top arm on top of your knee and push down just a little bit, and then lift that leg all the way up. This is strength training. And then use your arm to push you down past neutral and to your stretch here and up and down. So pay attention to what feels good to you. This stretch is a little bit of a different type of feel than our other stretches because the range of motion isn't that crazy, right? So we're not really challenging our glutes from a stretching standpoint, but we are challenging from a strength standpoint. So you want to push up all the way until you feel like you have a satisfactory amount of strength in your glutes. That'll mean that here it's like tight and probably burns. And then as you push out of that, you're going into your stretch and it's going to burn. Now again, you want to make sure that you build trust in your muscles. So when you start to really feel tired, you can stop. You don't have to do 10 of them just because I say to do 10 sometimes, right? You do what feels good to you because you want to make sure that your body says, I got this. I feel good in this stretch. It's a burn, but it feels good to me. Now I'm starting to get a pretty decent burn, so I'm going to reach my foot forward and get a little bit more, but that's because I trust this group and I can play with it now. So pushing out with your heel at the same speed that you're pushing down. All right, and for me, that feels like enough, so I'm going to switch sides. So you stack your knees, bring your hand right on top of your knee here on top, and you're going to push down with your hand while you push up with your leg, all the way up until it feels like it's in a safe place. And then push down so that you're pushing your knees together, pushing your top knee towards your bottom knee, and then up for strength. test where you feel good. And if you're willing, you can test a little bit more, right? So you can try to straighten out. That's only if you feel like you want to. If you're inspired to do that, go for it. But if you're not, that's okay. You're just not quite at that point yet. Not in this muscle, and that's all right. So up for strength, and if you feel like you want to try something new, maybe you can get some more stretch out of that. Whew. All right, that's so good. So good, you guys. All right, nice work. I'm worn out. That was fun. What a cool class. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you feel like you know anybody who could benefit from this, please share it with them. I think it's today was a really cool message, I think, just even for understanding a little bit more about how your body works and how resistance stretching works. So let your friends know. And also, I'm at home, not working, so I'm trying to get through, trying to make the best of this YouTube channel. If you guys are working and have the ability to contribute to my channel, please do. There's a little link below. It's a PayPal link. But if you don't feel like you have tons of income that you're just not spending, then don't worry about it. But the best way you can support me, guys, is by hitting that subscribe button in the corner, liking. You guys have done good for comments. Also, sharing, telling your friends, right? This is the best way that you guys can help me out, because this Ki-Hara is awesome. I know you guys know that because you're still here, but if you know people who don't know about Ki-Hara, they might really benefit. So please share it. Please share it with everybody you know. That's pretty much all I've got. So just as a reminder, be sure to check out my playlists and on my channel and the Stretch T channel on YouTube for Life Renovations, because a lot of what we talked about today, we also talked about in Life Renovations this week, which is just a few little short lessons for you guys. Also, tonight's a full moon. It's also 4/22/2020, which is a 444 portal if you guys are into numbers or into any of that kind of crazy stuff. And so since I'm at home and it's just me and my cats, it's either going to be Netflix or something fun. So I think I'm going to do another live tarot reading tonight. Probably around like 7 Central or maybe 8 o'clock. I don't know. We'll see what time I decide to do it. But keep an eye out for that if you want to join in, because it's kind of fun to do live. And that's just for kicks. And then, yeah, I'll see you guys. Stretching classes typically 6 days a week, alternating 11 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday is 11 a.m. and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at 9 a.m. Okay? That's all I got. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you're staying healthy, and I'm sending you love, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.